to do point-slope form. We've used this before. Point-slope form looks like this. Y minus y1 equals m. Guys.
Well, I'm just moving this chair out.
Well, it's not that big a deal. You could have done it right before we started notes. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We've used that equation before. So today, we are going to use the point-slope form. Now, you use this equation on your test and study guide. I will tell you which equation to use. So I will say, this is the equation to use. So use when the problem gives a sample point, xy, and a rate of change, which is the slope. We talked about the rate of change yesterday a little bit. What phrase did I tell you to look for that tells you the slope or the rate of change? So what word did I tell you to look for in the story problem that told you the slope?
How many?
No, go back to the page before this. What word did I tell you to look for that told you the slope?
Right?
No. Nope. Nope. We can just keep guessing every word. Go back to the front. Per. So we are looking for per. The word per is a keyword that will tell you your slope. Now, they may not have exactly the word per, but per is the same as something for each day or for each da-da-da. So per is usually the word you're going to see. That means that we are dealing with the slope. So what I look at first is I look at the first example, example 9. What we're going to look at first is we're going to look at what type of information they give me. So at Eagle Bay, it costs $10 per hour to rent a canoe. Nick and his friends rented a canoe for 3 hours and paid $45. Write and solve a linear equation to find the cost to rent the canoe for 8 hours. There are 2 parts. I want to write, and then I want to solve an equation. Make sure you do 2 separate parts. We're going to write an equation first, and then we're going to solve by giving me the information they tell me to. Okay, so what we're going to do first is I look at this. First thing we're going to look at is we are going to look at what information they give me. So first of all, first thing to notice is look for the keyword per. $10 per hour. So that makes 10 my what? Slope. So my slope is going to be 10. So that's the easiest thing to find first. $10 per hour, something per something, is my slope. Now, guys, the next thing is we need to find to see what other information they give me. They tell me Nick and his friends canoed for 3 hours and paid $45. So if I'm comparing 2 things like this, 3 hours was $45, that is an ordered pair, which is a little harder to figure out. But if you look at it, an ordered pair is when they tell you 2 things. I canoed 3 hours and it paid $45. So I'm comparing how much I rowed for, how many hours, and how much they paid. So when you compare 2 things like that, that will be your slope, 345. Now, what I want you to do, just a second, what I want you to do is I want you to label which is which. So 3 is my x value, and that represented what?
The
hours. 45 is my y value because it's x comma y, and that represented what? Money. So I want you to label it like this because I want you to be able to see, okay, when I'm talking about money, I'm talking about the y value. When I'm talking about hours, I'm talking about the x value. Now, for today, just for all extensive purposes, they're going to go in order. So x will be the first one, 3 hours, and y will be the second one. That won't always be the case as you get to harder math, but for today, for this class, that's just how it's going to be. So the first one will be your x, so 3 hours, and then the second one, $45, is your y. So 3 comma 45. Now, once you pull out that information, this is exactly like we did on last Wednesday.
Yeah.
So if I need to write my equation, we're still writing my equation, so this is still part of it. To write my equation, we use the formula because I give you the slope and a point. So y minus, it's going to be y minus what? 45 equals 10, parentheses, x minus 3. So once you pull out your ordered pair and you pull out your slope, then you plug it in like we did last week, which you guys did great with. Now, just like we did, I want to write the equation. I have it plugged in, so let's go ahead and solve for y. First thing we're going to do is what? Distribute the 10, which will give me 10x minus 30. I need to get y alone. Add 45, add 45. This is exactly like we did last week. Y equals
10x plus 15.
Negative 30 plus 45 plus 15. That is the first part. That is your equation. So like I said, and I know I was picky and probably annoying about this yesterday. However, on the ICEP, they will have sections. One section will say write an equation. One section will say solve, blah, 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 blah. So you need to make sure you have both separate parts. There's my equation. Now I'm going to solve it. So I'll just kind of extend my arrow. I want to solve it. Now, it will tell you what information it wants you to write and solve. I have it written. Solve a linear equation. Just a second. Solve the linear equation to find the cost to rent the canoe for 8 hours. David. If I want to find the cost, what variable represents the cost? Look at your ordered pair. This is why I want you to label it. Why? This is why I want you to label the ordered pair. 3 is the hours, which is x. 45 is the money, which is y. So if I want to find the cost, I want to find y when they rent the canoe for 8 hours. And what does 8 hours represent?
Y.
Look at your ordered pair. X. This is why I want you to label your ordered pair. So you see x is hours, y is money. So when you're plugging stuff in, you know where to plug it in. So I want to find y when they tell me I canoe for 8 hours. So when they tell me x is 8. So again, this will probably be the biggest issue that throws you off, is knowing where to plug in x and y. That's why I want you to label right when you write your ordered pair, which is which, and so you know what to plug it in for. 10 times 8?
80.
Plus 15? 95. Now, just like yesterday, I want you to label it. This is 95, what? Dollars. Y, go back to your ordered pair. Y represented $1. This is $95. Let's think if this makes sense. So, read your story problem. Why does $95 make sense?
$10 an hour for 8 hours.
It's $10 an hour for 8 hours, which is how much? $80.
Plus 45, I guess.
No. Where does the other part come from?
Taxes.
Well, if I look at it, keep looking. If Nick rented a canoe for 3 hours and paid $45, I know if I rented it for 8 hours, it's going to be what compared to the 45? More.
Obviously.
Because, yeah. So you can kind of look at what information they give you, and your answer kind of makes sense. So $95. So make sure it kind of makes sense. Okay, any questions on that?
Number 12.
We're going to look at 12.
Yay.
Okay, let's look at 12, and then I'll give you time to start the homework. 12. No, we're doing the next section. Yeah, we'll split them up. Yeah, I see what you're asking. Okay, let's look at 12 real quick. Let's read it. A home security company provides a security system for $5 per week, plus an installation fee. The total fee for 12 weeks of service is $210. Write and solve a linear equation to find the cost of the installation fee. So we're going to start writing my equation first. 2 parts. We're going to start writing my equation. Okay, easiest thing to pull out. Slope, which is 5 per week. That's the easiest thing to pull out. Start with that. So my slope is 5. Something per something. Something for each something.
12 and 210.
Okay. Now, that's your slope. Now we want to look at the ordered pair. Ordered pairs are when you are comparing two things. So if I read this, the total fee for 12 weeks is $210. So that's going to be your ordered pair. I'm comparing the number of weeks, 12, with the money, $210. So for today, you're just going to put it in order. So for today, you'll learn why this is X and this is Y later in the harder math classes. But for this class right now, X will be first, Y will be second. Now, I want you to label your ordered pair. 12 is my X value, which is representing what? Weeks. 210 is my Y value, which is representing money. I want you to do that part. Because I want you, that will help you when you're trying to plug stuff in, know where things go, whether it goes in for X or Y. Okay, let's continue writing. Let's use I gave you the point and a slope, so let's use the point slope formula. It's going to look like what?
Y minus 210 equals
Okay.
5x, or 5 parentheses x minus 12.
Okay, so plug in your slope, plug in your ordered pair exactly like we did last week. The only difference today is you're pulling out the slope from the story problem, pulling out the ordered pair from the story problem. Let's solve this. Distribute your 5.
5x minus 60.
5x minus 60. Just turn it in the tray. Thanks, Jeff. So distribute your 5. You get 5x minus 60. Solve for y. Add 210.
Y equals 5x plus
Okay.
60.
Y equals 5x. Negative 60 plus 210.
150.
150. That is your equation. So that's the first part. Write an equation. That is the first part. The second part is where they give you another piece of information and I want to solve for something.
But it doesn't give us any.
Okay, let's think about it. It doesn't give you any number. This one's a little tricky. That's why I chose this one. Now I want to solve it. I want to find the cost of the installation fee. So let's think about this. I want to find the cost. So what variable do I want to solve for? I want to find the cost. Y represented the money. I want to find the cost, so I'm solving for Y. So I want to find Y, which represents the cost. Look at your order pair. I want to find Y, the cost of the installation fee. Well, let's think about this. What will my number of weeks be? If I start with my equation, what will my number of weeks be if I want to know what the installation fee is? So let's think about this. It costs $5 a week plus an installation fee. So what would be the easiest thing to figure out if I want to know just what the installation fee is without any weeks?
5 divided by.
So how many weeks? If I just want to know what the installation fee, I don't have any weeks. I just want to know what the installation fee is. It is 150. How do you know it's 150? Okay, if I put in 0, that represents 0 weeks. So if I put in 0, all I want to know is the installation fee. I don't want to know how much it costs after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I want to know right at the beginning, what do I pay right at the beginning without having any weeks? I pay 150. So 5 times 0, 0, plus 150 is 150. Y represents dollars, so you're going to label it as dollars. Now, how else could you figure out the installation fee without necessarily plugging in 0? Look at your equation. How else can you find the installation fee by looking at your equation without plugging in 0?
Plus 150.
Yeah, you have 150 at the end. So read your story problem. It's $5 a week plus the installation fee. So if you look at your equation, it's $5 a week, so 5x, plus the installation fee, which is 150. So you could also figure it out from there. But okay, any questions on that? Okay, so go ahead and put your notes to the side. Let me get you a new homework sheet for today.